Hello, everyone. Our topic is adolescents seeking abortion. Our main controversy question is, should parental consent be required for adolescents seeking abortion? Roe v. Wade gave women access to abortions without restrictions during the first trimester, but age was not discussed at the time. Individual states have made it a requirement that teens under the age of 18 need consent from a parent or legal guardian at the time of consultation. Our article mentions scholars who are opposed to parent involvement argue that teenagers do not communicate with their family because of fear of harming the parent-child relationship or a physical reaction coming from the parent. It is also argued that the parent involvement laws increase the travel for out-of-state abortions and delays in obtaining abortions. However, medical associations do support parent involvement in the decision-making process of abortion, but do not support when it will compromise medical privacy/confidentiality. Judicial bypass can be obtained by teen girls who are not able to access parental consent. This consent is for those who want an abortion and are not allowed, or those who do not want an abortion but are being forced to have one. Should parental consent be required for adolescents seeking abortion? On the yes side, it'll be myself, Christina Gonzalez. On the no side, it will be my partner, Jasmine Carrillo. Consent. According to the Merriam-Webster online dictionary, consent is defined as to give assent or approval, in other words, agree. This topic is very controversial, and I want to make it clear that the question is not whether a teen should or should not have an abortion, but instead the research is questioning whether parents or guardians should have an input to consent or agree with the adolescent when they are seeking the abortion. This improvement only comes when the adolescent invites the parent to be a part of the process, as in allowing the parent to be able to look for the location and the parent being able to drive them there and back home. What is also important and mentioned in the article is that parents can be there to care for the adolescent during the time of recovery and after the procedure. Consent is not a requirement. Adolescents have the option of crossing state lines to have secret abortions, and this has happened many times before. In fact, in the article, there is a testimony from a teenager's mother who had to face something very tough. Her daughter had become pregnant by her boyfriend at the time, but his parents were not happy. The teenager was secretly taken out of state by the parents of her boyfriend and was peer pressured into having an abortion, even after she tried to refuse it. The fact that she was out of state made it scarier for her, and the parents of the boyfriend used the parents of the 14-year-old daughter as an induction. The Child Interstate Abortion Notification Act bill was brought up to ensure that young teen girls are not deceived into crossing state lines to have a secret abortion. Parent involvement is important whether the teen decides to go through with the abortion or decides to keep the child or go through with surrogacy. The parents can assist in either route. So yes, parental consent should be required for adolescents seeking abortion.
Hello, my name is Jasmine, and I will be discussing the no side of this controversy. As you heard from my partner, we are discussing adolescents seeking abortion and needing parental consent to do so. Before we dive in, I would like you to think whether or not when you were an adolescent, if you have the cognitive maturity to make the decision yourself, or if parental consent would probably be in your best benefit. As you know, this is a very sensitive and controversial topic, and the main argument here that I will be discussing is that adolescents have reached the cognitive maturity level to where they are able to make a decision such as abortion without their parental consent. In the article, Are Adolescents Less Mature Than Adults by Lauren Steinberg, she argues that adolescents are just as mature as adults, so they are fully capable of making the decision to get an abortion without parental consent. She does discuss in the case of Hodson versus Minnesota, it was about a minor's right to obtain an abortion without parental notification. The APA argued that adolescents had decision-making skills comparable to an adult, which is why they don't need to notify their parents before getting an abortion. This case brought up several legal concerns about whether the notification requirement placed an undue burden on adolescents who come from divorced homes or of those who don't know their parents, and whether getting a judicial bypass was acceptable. As my partner Christina discussed previously, the judicial bypass is when an adolescent goes in front of a judge to state their case so they don't need parental consent to receive an abortion. The judge then decides if the adolescent is sufficiently mature enough or not, then will either deny or grant them to proceed without parental notice or consent. Studies have found that half of pregnant teens contemplating abortion who have not spoken to their parents about it reach out to a non-parental adult, such as a teacher, family member, or a friend. This shows that they are seeking advice from others or confiding in someone else who can provide them the support regarding their decision on the pregnancy. 35 states require all women seeking abortion to receive counseling from the abortion provider before they get one. They also discuss the procedure along with the health risks of abortion and pregnancy. 24 states require a waiting period of 24 hours between counseling and the abortion. This time period allows the adolescent to get the help and advice needed if they are unable to reach out to their parents. This article goes over a current study that was designed to examine cognitive and psychosocial capacities in different ages that are relevant to the debates about maturity of adolescents and adults. It was done with 935 individuals that range from ages 10 to 30 years old. Psychosocial maturity was measured by using the following 5 measures: risk perception, sensation seeking, impulsivity, resistance to peer influence, and future orientation, in the averaging their scores. They found out the data of the study supports the argument that adolescents reach adult levels of cognitive maturity several years before they reach adult levels of psychosocial maturity. Studies on logical reasoning abilities in structured situations and basic information processing skills have not found significant differences between teens ages 16 and older and adults. By age 16, adolescents' general cognitive abilities are about the same as an adult's. However, their psychosocial functioning is significantly immature than an adult. Adolescent brain maturation suggests that brain systems responsible for logical reasoning and basic information processing mature earlier than the psychosocial maturity. This study obviously shows that adolescents ranging from about 16 and up do have that cognitive maturity to make the decision to get an abortion rather than needing parental consent or notice to do so. So, should parental consent be required for adolescents, or are adolescents mature enough to make the decision for themselves? As you heard earlier from Christina, parental consent can benefit adolescents in many ways, from providing them that emotional support to get them through the whole process and help taking them to their appointments and all that's necessary when it comes to getting an abortion. You then heard how adolescents are actually cognitively mature enough to make the decision themselves, according to several studies. This has been an ongoing debate and will continue to go on.